Justin A.W. Blair here with another review of a Star Trek Deep Space Nine novel. This one's called Warchild. Some people call me the Warchild. It's a prophecy for my birth. However, this book is not about me. This book is about a Bajoran child, which is becomes a political pawn of sorts amongst the different Bajoran religious factions who are trying to locate and then use the prophesied child for their own ends. I'm not going to get into the intricacies of the plot of this book. What I am going to say is that I almost gave up on reading the Deep Space Nine novels after the last one. This is number 7 in the series. And I picked it back up after a while, taking a bit of a break. And I will say this is probably the best written book so far in the series. Read quickly, but there's actually some reasonably good prose for a book of this sort. What do I mean by a book of this sort? A commercial piece of fiction that has constraints on it because it's a tie-in to a series. That you can still feel for sure, and you can feel some of the formulaic aspects of these books. O'Brien almost always comes in briefly. Cisco yells at him about fixing something. He's overwhelmed and says something vaguely Irish. They definitely, someone always visits Quark, Quark's bar, oftentimes Odo. They play into the themes of the show, which is fine actually, and it's well done here. Now, Dr. Bashir is the main character in this story, and not one of my favorite characters on Deep Space Nine. However, it's portrayed well. It's a political intrigue story, which is something that Deep Space Nine, one of the major themes of Deep Space Nine before the major theme of the Dominion War came about, was politics on Bajor. There were a lot of Vedics going along, doing things, Vedic-y things. But overall, this is actually a good book. It kept me reading. I'm going to continue to read these, I think, for a bit more. Already starting on the one after this, Antimatter. And yeah, Esther Friesner here did a fine job, I thought, actually. Almost all these books come in at 270 pages. That I'm guessing that's another hard word limit they had for these or something like that. But yeah, reads fast, prose is good. Is it anything extraordinary? Within the context of these books so far, yeah, it is because it's better written. But other than that, no, not particularly. I think it would be a decent one to pick up if you've never read a Deep Space Nine novel and you're looking for just one. These are standalone. They don't really, especially if you've seen the series, they don't require anything. You don't have to have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, et cetera, et cetera. You can just pick up from wherever you're at. There's a little romance sub theme going on there. Not a huge fan of that, but some of you may be, and that happens, and it's done well with Dr. Bashir and a Bajoran healer. I'm going to refrain from going into any of the intricacies of the plot because there are no big missteps here, which I want to point out, which I've done in other books. There's no big missteps in terms of characterization. Yes, it's all a little bit rote. However, it is written well for this, and it's going to keep me reading on. We'll see, trudging on the Deep Space Nine novels. There's a good plot twist at the end. It's not particularly annoying. The secondary character, is actually really well drawn and interesting. They get into some hijinks, that happens. Hijinks occur. There is something this book does, which was fun, and that is it takes a very minor character from, I believe, either season 1 or season 2, and I could look it up for you, but does anyone really care? I'll tell you what it is. It's the episode where Kira goes. It's called Progress. Kira goes down to a moon, goes up to a moon, over to a moon. She goes to it. This is the television series. She goes to a moon of Bajor, which they are going to convert and make uninhabitable because they've created some power generation thing there, and there's a farmer there, and they're all just doing woodsy farmer things, and Kira is like, "Hey, old man farmer, you gotta leave," and he's like, "I'm not leaving my land." And she's like, "You got to," and they kind of become friends, and then she inexplicably burns his house down at the end of the episode. I was not a fan of that. That is not, get off my land. That's what I say. That's what I would have said if I was that farmer. Anyway, that minor character actually makes a small appearance in this book, and I think that speaks to the strength of what a franchise like Star Trek can do when it does this well. Brings back a minor character from a show, puts it in a book. It's fun for the fans of the franchise to recognize that, see it, make that connection back to something else they've seen, read, or enjoyed. And when that's done well, it's done great. There is a little bit of a question sometimes in my mind when that happens. It's like, okay, the galaxy's a large galaxy, a lot of people, got to be a lot of people, yet somehow the same people show up, meet up. But that's fate, I suppose. Anyway, don't remember his name. It's like Mulligrew or Mulleroot or something like that. Fans will know. Leave it in the comments if you would like. I could go click through and find it for you, but it's just trivia. He shows up. That's fun. Other than that, like I say, O'Brien is stressed out, overworked, gets yelled at to fix things. Cisco is not really a big part of this. Dax does some Dax things. Bashir, written well, probably the main character besides the character which steals the show in this, Cedra or something like that. Well done. The relationship between Warchild and their sibling, it's really actually well drawn. A lot of it also is just a medical drama. Dr. Bashir is down the planet. He's trying to do medical things, being Bashir-like, getting into some trouble, but in a good-natured way, and coming out all right. So, like I said, read fast. I enjoyed it. It's strong enough to make me keep reading these for some reason. I'm going to keep going, even though there have been some real not great instances of this, but I'm a Deep Space Nine fan, a fanatic, and I'm just gonna do it. It's a little visitation back to the 1990s for me also, because these were written and set in the 1990s, and that is interesting to me. All right, so that is it. Justin W. Blair. You can like and subscribe, do all those types of things, and you can see me next time on the next episode.